Okay, this is how Wayne Rooney helps you answer RE essay questions. So this is a video about technique for writing the RE essay questions you will find at GCSE level, but those are also the questions that we most commonly use in RE assessments at FPS at year 7, 8 and 9 level. So here's how it goes. You might have seen this question coming up over the last few months, this issue coming up in the news. Man United considering Wayne Rooney offer from the Chinese Super League. Wayne Rooney could leave Man United after nearly 12 years to move to China in the summer, but the pressure would be on Ed Woodward, who's the chairman of Man United. So, do you think Wayne Rooney should move to China, or do you think he should do something else? So this is the way the question might be phrased if this question came up in your RE exam, which it wouldn't. But let's just take it as an example. Okay, Wayne Rooney should move to China. Evaluate this statement. In your answer, you should refer to the thinking of football pundits, give developed arguments to support this statement, give developed arguments to support a different point of view, and reach a justified conclusion. So the best way to do that is to imagine that that sentence in those quotation marks has been said by someone, maybe one of your friends. So there's someone saying, Wayne Rooney should move to China. Evaluate this statement. So what do you do when you evaluate this statement? You can look at arguments for and against. So imagine one of your friends has said, Wayne Rooney should move to China. Why would someone agree with him? Why would someone disagree with him? And you need to refer to the thinking of football pundits. So let's put that down the side. Give developed arguments to support this statement. That's arguments for. Arguments for. Give developed arguments to support a different point of view. That's arguments against. And you need to reach a justified conclusion. What does justified mean? Justified means that you don't just say what you think, but you give a reason for it. There's an argument to it that's been running through your whole essay. There's reasoning behind it. And so this is the most obvious structure that you need for your essays. You don't even need the introduction, but you definitely need a section that talks about for, and then a section that talks about against, and then a conclusion. So, for example, if we were thinking about this this question, we think Wayne Rooney should move to China. What are the arguments for? Well, for example, he would earn even more money, £900,000 per week, maybe. That's ridiculous money, isn't it? He would always start games. He'd be the star player. Whereas at the moment, he can't get in the Man United team. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is starting ahead of him, and he hasn't started for X number of games, and you just have to find your facts and your figures. You need your knowledge in there. Man United have good young players coming through. Rashford, Martial, there you go. You've got some keywords in there. And he's won everything he needs to in English football. And we need a football pundit in there. We need their thinking, so we need to quote them. So Paul Scholes, one of my favourite players ever, former Man United player, played with Wayne Rooney. He says, I don't see Rooney as a player who will accept that. He will want to be at a team where he's playing every week, for example, in China. What about arguments against? Well, maybe he could go somewhere else, maybe to Everton, maybe to the USA. He will find the language and the culture change difficult, so if he moves to China, it's a really different culture. Mourinho, the manager, said that he wants him to stay, although does he really? Zlatan Ibrahimovic, well, he's 35, he's only on a one-year contract. Rooney's still a great player. And Man United need him as an experienced player to help the younger players get better. Again, we need some thinking of football pundits in there. So who are we going to turn to? Alex Ferguson, great example. Former manager. When Wayne Rooney joined the club, I could never imagine anybody could beat Sir Bobby Charlton's record for number of goals scored. So his achievement is outstanding. It's amazing. I don't think anyone could overtake Rooney. So he's saying Rooney's a great player. Well, maybe United need him then if he's a great player. So you put that then into your plan, and there you go. You map out your essay, and you need to have a conclusion. Maybe you agree with for, maybe it's against, but you need to argue that in your conclusion. What's the best reason you think why Rooney should stay or should go to China? Now, obviously, boys, when you come to GCSEs and when you come to RE extended writing, we don't actually write essays about Wayne Rooney. However, the format is exactly the same as what we've just looked at. So here we go. This is an essay that is taken off the new GCSE specification. So the exam board called AQA, the one that we are going to be using, this is a question they have given as an example. This is under the Christianity unit, and you've got a quote. If God were loving, there would be no suffering in the world. Evaluate this statement. In your answer, you should refer to Christian teaching. That's a bit like football pundits. Give developed arguments to support this statement. Give developed arguments to support a different point of view. Reach a justified conclusion. And here, boys, is the criteria that they will be marking those essays on. Forget about the bit at the left that says level. Forget about that, because those aren't the levels we are thinking of. So we're not going to be using that. But look, boys, it's out of 12. And so nothing worthy of credit means that you haven't done anything. You haven't shown anything at all in your essay. If you give a point of view with some reasons stated in support, so maybe you say, yes, I think that Wayne Rooney should move to China, and you give a reason, then you maybe get 1 to 3 marks. If you have a logical chain of reasoning, this is going up to the next level, a logical chain of reasoning drawing on knowledge and understanding of relevant evidence and information, so you go into a lot more depth, or you look at different points of view, then you might be in the 4 to 6 category. And it says a maximum of level 2 if there is no reference to religion and the argument is one-sided. So the level 2 doesn't mean the level that you're thinking of. Okay, level 2 just means this category. It doesn't actually mean a level 2L or anything like that. But what it does mean is you cannot get above 6 marks if you only consider one point of view, or if you don't refer to religion. So that means if you write the absolute greatest RE essay in the history of the world for one side of the argument, but you don't consider the other side, you will only ever get a maximum of 6 marks, of half marks. However, if you do both points of view, you're likely to go up into the 7 to 9 mark category. And that's where you've got clear reference to religion, and there's logical chains of reasoning, and you've got knowledge, you've got understanding, you've got keywords, you've got quotes in there. And then right at the top, that's the category that we're aiming for. That's the 10 to 12 marks. So it's well argued. It's got consideration of different points of view. And then it leads to a really strong conclusion. And some of you boys, and particularly the boys in year 8 and year 9 who are writing really good essays, the thing to really work on are those conclusions, the justified conclusions. And here, boys, is an example of what the exam board is saying is a really good essay. A really good essay. This is a high-level model answer written by the examiners. And there you go. I will leave that on the screen for a moment so you can have a quick look at it. And you'll notice that it's got the quote, and then there's no introduction really, but it talks about why some people might agree with that. And then it talks about why some people might disagree with it, and it talks about Christians. It refers there to the Bible, talks about the Old Testament. Got some lots of keywords in there. And then that final paragraph there is their conclusion. So the conclusion is quite long. However, the whole essay is not that long. Some of you boys are already writing that length of essay. But what you need to do is make every word count, make it more concise, make sure the structure is very clear, and have a really good justified conclusion. There you go, boys. That is how Wayne Rooney helps you to plan and answer RE GCSE style essay questions.